Today, I want to talk about a very controversial leak that came out last night, which involved the idea that the future of PlayStation. Sony's been talking a bit about the experiment of going multi platform to a way.
Oh no, this ain't no experiment, Dreamcast guy. You and the rest of these PlayStation fanboys know that PlayStation is multi-platform. I find it so funny. You made a video talk about how Xbox is afraid of the Steam machine, but yet it seems to be Sony.
We've actually seen a couple of games like Helldivers going to Xbox, but it's more about the PC front, right? Over the course of the last couple of years, Sony has put
Is that why Marathon also dropping on Xbox, even though we know the game's going to fail as well? You know what? Just go ahead. Just go
some
ahead.
of their biggest and best games onto Steam. Stuff like Spider-Man, stuff like God of War. And by their own admission, they sold fantastic. In fact, they actually bought an entire studio, Nexus. They bought a studio specifically that's good at porting games to PC.
Just so they can port games to another platform, but yet you guys tell people that PlayStation 5 is the primary source of where Sony gets their money. Exclusive games. That's what people are buying in today's gaming market. You know, all this coping that you people been doing for so long, and all I gotta say is Gamester with another W, baby.
But now, a new leak came out last night that has a lot of the internet kind of mad, kind of debating about it, because it essentially said that Sony is now afraid of the idea of PC gaming.
But I thought you said it was Xbox. When the Steam machine came out, you guys said, oh, look at that. Microsoft's going to have to get afraid of it. Just to find out it was really PlayStation. Because you know why? This is going to cut into PlayStation's ecosystem. Even if they choose to not put any more games on Steam, that means you're giving your competitor more of a market share in PC as well as mobile gaming, in cloud and streaming. That's what's going on here, man. I told you guys, all you pathetic fanboys, worrying about all these console sales. We got 84 mil, 84. Well, look at it. At the end of the day, Sony's still scared. At this point, I call it, you guys got 84 million soldiers, and yet you're scared of Xbox that only got about 20 million to their name. You guys are embarrassing. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if it was Xbox that had those hardware sales. PlayStation would have been long out of here.
Sony is doing a big reverse course. There's no longer going to be any of the big famous franchises. We're not going to see like Last of Us Part 3 or another Ratchet and Clank. None of that stuff now is...
Oh, that's funny because didn't they put a game on PC, the MMORPG of Horizon, and Ratchet and Clank on mobile, which is not even available on PlayStation 5? Didn't Sony promote a TV for 240 frames for PC gamers? You know what, man? Just go ahead, man. Like I've said, bro, full on third party, man. All this capping that y'all been doing this whole generation, just to end up in the same position that Xbox is, it absolutely embarrassing.
Going to PC. PlayStation is back to only focusing on PlayStation. But let's talk about this because I think the leak is legit, even if
No, that's what you people wanted to. You want Sony to go back to because you guys have no ammunition in the console war if your games are also available on the Steam machine as well as the new Xbox. That's what you people want. But even at the end of the day, regardless if Sony does go back to those old ways, there's not enough for you people to support them. Let's not forget here, people. Helldivers 2 was a success because it went where? PC. That's the reason why these games were successful. If Sony's going to continue to lock their games, like you said, they happen to be very successful on PC. So why would you potentially pull out of a market that you've been successful at? Just to give your competitor, Microsoft, more of a market share. If PlayStation does that, because I'm going to tell you something, you guys are not Nintendo, okay? It's about time you guys humble. You're not Nintendo. People don't pick up your platform for exclusives, and you people know it. So PlayStation... potentially, well, in some ways, just speculating. If they do that, that's going to completely ruin the whole China Hero project that they've been working on. But I highly doubt it.
Question the source. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. The entirety of it is that he said, I've heard from a very good source that PlayStation is pulling back from PC for their tent-pole single-player games, while live service games will remain day and date. Now, part of the reason that people are sort of fighting about this leak is that he said essentially the opposite 2 days before this. He said that by his own estimation, we're about to see a lot of games, exclusives from PlayStation, going to Steam. Day and date, he said.
And let's not forget Xbox. I know you didn't want to read that part, but also Xbox. Okay.
But apparently, according to him, he made this post and sources came to him and said the direct opposite is true. PlayStation is now, in a way, kind of afraid of tarnishing their brand.
Oh, that's funny. You know, you guys was promoting. The funny thing is, man, with all these PlayStation fans, have you noticed they want to glaze the Steam? Nothing wrong with that. I think the Steam machine's a pretty nice product. But my point is that you fanboys want to glaze the Steam machine, but yet that was what's taking all your exclusivity. I mean, you guys look so stupid. And the funny thing is, when people told you they were excited for that, for the new Xbox, you told people, oh, that's stupid. Who cares about a platform with Steam? But yet, you guys go as far to say that the Steam machine is good because you guys have no argument. That's what it is. This is what you want. You need some form of at this point, you don't even care how bad your games sell at this point. You just need something to say, well, this is the reason why I bought a PS5 over the Xbox. That's all it is. Because your games don't sell worth a damn on your own marketplace. And you even go as far to admit that, even in his own video.
Like going to PC. So I think what's interesting right now about the console wars is that exclusives for about 5 years there, people are kind of questioning their relevance, right?
Games still wouldn't. There you go. Throw my flowers. Who told y'all this? Who told y'all this since the beginning? Now all of a sudden you want to admit defeat and come out here in this YouTube community and tell people that 5 years, which is, if you notice, 5 years since the PS5 launch, that exclusive games never mattered. But yet you guys kept arguing these points that they did, just to find out that GameStop was right all along. GameStop with another W. Please leave my flowers at my door. Thank you.
Because exclusive games really don't sell that much.
Oh, really? Who's been saying that since the very beginning? You know, Mr. Free-to-play and third-party game, who been saying this? You're like, damn, games to see. You know what? I'm always right in this community, man. No matter how much you people want to argue about stuff because you want to live in your little pathetic fanboy island, at the end of the day, this is not what's going on in the industry. And you people know this. You dinosaur gamers need to go extinct, okay? Become fossils at this point.
Consoles sell a lot. Sony's doing incredibly big numbers, making tens of billions of dollars off the PlayStation consoles. But when you actually look at the individual sales of particular games, it's not like one of them is selling 10 million copies.
Games still want another W. Bro, this is what we've been telling y'all. We said this around Astrobot when the game won Game of the Year, and then that game won Player's Choice. Like, bro, come on, man. Black Myth Wukong should have won both as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what Jeff Keighley was doing behind backstage, but listen, like I said, your games just don't sell, bro. At the end of the day, people that pick up a PS5 are picking it up no different than they do a PC and an Xbox, which is to play free-to-plays and third-party games. You guys can continue to cap for this all you want, but at the end of the day, the real gamers, we see right through it.
A lot of times, it's more about the idea of exclusives, the idea about exclusives in the future that kind of entices new fans into it. But
it hasn't enticed not one new fan. Because think about it, Astrobot was bundled with the console, and yet if we go based off your logic, then the game should have sold 80 million, or at least close to 10 to 20, since Astrobot, Astro's Playroom, was bundled with the PS5 console. Every PS5 console you have, you get access to Astro's Playroom. I think Sony did that for a reason. And then when they released Astrobot, they got far less sales than they expected. Now, mind you, the game did do well for the type of budget that the game had. But the point stands is that Sony tried to market this game in the same lines as a Mario. Think about it. How do you think Mario got successful? Ding, 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 ding. Good answer, Carl. Because they bundled it with the NES. That's why. Same thing with ding, 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 ding. Sonic the Hedgehog. When Sega bundled it with the Genesis, and look what happened with the sales. Astrobot was supposed to be a shining example of the same thing, except in this difference, it failed. It failed in the grand scheme. It didn't fail financially, but it failed in the grand scheme of Sony trying to get 20, 30 million off this character. And they just didn't. And I think like Sony's like, damn, bro, this was supposed to be our Mario. This was supposed to be our big heavy hitter. And it just, even when we gave the first game for free, nobody wanted to buy the secondary one.
Sony might stop releasing single-player games according to PC. I've heard from a very reliable source that they're likely withdrawing. And Pio's actually one of my favorite. Some people consider him to be a blind PlayStation fanboy. To me, he just seems like a guy who loves PlayStation and loves playing on his PlayStation. Well, the reason I asked about Sony going back to only PlayStation a few days ago is because I've also been hearing this. It's a rumor, but Sony may be considering quitting porting their single-player games to PC. So
if Sony does that, now we're not going to speculate if that's what they do. If Sony does that, they're done. I want you guys to understand, PlayStation is dead if they do that. Because you're going to allow Microsoft to come into a market share with mobile, PC, and you're going to let them take over everything. That's not good. That China Hero project of Sony trying to capitalize on those sales in China is done. It's obsolete. If that's what you guys say. Let's not forget Black Myth Wukong, which was a single-player game, is what made the millions in PC market. That's why Sony promoted that game heavily, even though more people bought it on PC than they did on console. What are you guys talking about, bro? If Sony does this, your games are not that valuable, so go ahead. By all means, Sony, pull your games off from Steam. Well, not the games that are there, but choose to not focus on it, because the day you do, understand that Microsoft's taking over your own company with their games dropping on your platform. Your games are gonna be invaluable. Now I see why Microsoft says everything's an Xbox. Because you buy PlayStation, you're not getting really exclusives. You're just getting Xbox games. You buy an Xbox, you're getting the benefit of Game Pass plus these other features that they offer, plus having Steam and freedom and the freedom aspect. You get PC, you get the best of both worlds, and you get the best resolution, graphics, and frame rate. You see, Microsoft understands that the less value, and what I mean by less value, the more these consoles stay the same, the less valuable PlayStation becomes in comparison. This is why you say PlayStation is scared. All this coping y'all did, Steam Machine scaring the Xbox, even though Phil Spencer came out and complimented them, right? You guys got to understand, Gabe and Microsoft have a good relationship, bro. The guy used to work at Microsoft. You guys think, oh yeah, Gabe cares about... No, he don't. He does not care about y'all. So you guys sitting there coping, talking about the Steam Machine gonna take out the Xbox, and Phil Spencer and Gabe are sitting there laughing on their yachts. Like, what are y'all talking about? We're the ones. We told Gabe to put the Steam Machine to make y'all look like y'all had no exclusives. We told them. We worked together while they smoking their cigars. You guys are stupid.
Something that a lot of people are talking about, because does this mean that everybody is afraid of the Steam Machine? Is Steam Machine actually a true competitor? I kind of want to make a separate video about the Steam Machine.
From what I heard, it's not even more powerful than the PS5, so I don't understand how that would be. At the end of the day, the real question is the new Xbox going to cause some trouble? Because the Xbox, regardless if you say it is a household name, it's always in the tongues of you ponies. You guys always talk about how good the 360 was. Who knows what this new Xbox is in store? That's the real question. I'm not saying Steam is not popular. I'm just saying with the specs that they've offered, possibly not. But what Xbox is doing by providing their audience with some hardware plus the backwards compatibility options, and because let's not forget, they do have a following. They do still have a following, people. And they could probably convert some of these PlayStation fans over if they do everything right this time for the next generation. That's probably why they're making sure that it's full backwards compat. You take your old stuff. They all work on the new Xbox. Matter of fact, we even added more to it. You got Steam. You got good old game. You got all these launchers now. No different than what they're doing with the Steam Machine. I'm telling you, the Steam Machine is a wake-up call for Sony to be like, uh-oh. As you guys can see, the Steam Machine, in comparison, is not even the biggest competitor, and you guys are already afraid. So imagine when the Xbox come out. Wow.
A lot of the leaks about the price and possibly Half-Life 3, but I do think that inside the industry, a lot of big corporate executives are terrified of the Steam Machine, because yes, the Steam Machine is...
Yeah, you're terrified of the Steam Machine, but you're also terrified of the Xbox too. They don't want to throw Xbox. They'll give credit to Steam, but they don't want to give credit to Xbox. Like I said, this is Xbox tax.
Just a PC. It's just a micro PC with a lower price tag. But I do think that a lot of these people A lot of fans specifically play console games because of the ease of use. The controller automatically updates. The controller is always going to work every single time you boot up the game. The graphics are auto-configured. You pop in a disc, it auto-updates. There is a seamlessness to console gaming that I really feel like is the reason it's still so big. I mean, to me, I still predominantly game on console, especially for like a lot of big AAA stuff. Just believe that the PC market is getting so saturated with incredibly good games. I mean, straight up, I feel like there's been so many crazy indie successes, early access games. I don't know, Lethal Company, just so many games constantly, every single day.
See, like you got no confidence in PlayStation. And the funny thing is, Lego Horizons, what wasn't on PS4, that was multiplat, Horizon Dawn, remaster. Look at this. Look how embarrassing look at this. This is the PC releases, mind you. But look how embarrassing this, because these were the games they were dropping on PS5 as well. Y'all like, damn, games to you, right? Look at this. Lego Horizon? Horizon Remaster? Until Dawn Remaster? God of War cross-gen? Ghost of Tsushima cross-gen? Helldivers? This is what the great PlayStation stands on? This PS5 sucks. Look at this crap.
Do for our last fiscal year, so not just like a quarter, our full fiscal year, they essentially said, hey, here's our multi-platform efforts. The fact that they put some stuff like MLB The Show went to Xbox and stuff. They also put games on Steam.
And what about Nintendo Switch? Freedom Wars? I know the games. Everybody's Hot Shot Golf. What about those games? Those games that also dropped on other devices. Like even Nintendo. Tamba.
Their multi-platform efforts got them 2% profit. Look at this. Craziest thing about this data is there were plenty of first-party PC releases this fiscal year. Spider-Man 2, Lego Horizon, Horizon's port is fantastic. If you've ever wanted to play the original Horizon Zero Dawn, play it on PC. Holy heck, this port is perfect. Until Dawn Remastered.
You see how you said play it on PC, not on console?
God of War Ragnarok, Ghost of Tsushima. It's crazy. Helldivers 2 was only 2 months old. Keep in mind, both Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 were the fastest-selling first-party games in PlayStation history. Honestly, right now, the PS5 console itself, I have heard people essentially say that PlayStation is doing so well, they're kind of afraid of getting in their own way, right? Right now, the messaging with PlayStation is stupid easy. You play it, you buy it. If you buy a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro, it'll play every game in the world with a PS5 on the box.
No, it doesn't. It does not play every game in the world. It doesn't even play its own library. What are you talking about, bro? You can't play PS1, 2, and 3 games natively. Well, you can play 1 and 2 with the ones that are supported, but you can't play every single... What are you talking about? The PlayStation can't even play its own damn library. Man, let me hear this
with
crap.
PlayStation is stupid easy.
Oh, really?
You play it, you buy it. If you buy
yeah, just like every other device.
A PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro,
okay,
it'll play every game in the world with a PS5 on the box.
It plays every game. No, it does not. Why are you lying, bro? Why are you lying? It plays every game. No, it doesn't. If anything, the closest machine that plays, should I say it, guys? GameStop? Should I? Is the Xbox. You can play NES, Super Nintendo, GameCube, original Xbox, 360, Xbox One. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not saying that's every game in the world, but the Xbox Series X, you can play more games through dev mode than what you're getting with PlayStation. What are you talking about? And with enhancements.
With PlayStation is stupid easy. You play it, you buy it. If you buy a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro, it'll play every game in the world with a PS5 on the box. It'll play...
No, and it doesn't.
Every PlayStation 4
doesn't even play every PlayStation game. Like, what are you talking about? It don't even play every PlayStation game.
It'll play digital games. It'll play your crappy Fortnite or Marvel Rivals or whatever, right?
Well, crappy Fortnite or crappy Marvel Rivals is where that's where the money's coming from. So you can call them crappy all you want, but at the end of the day, that's the reason why your PlayStation 5 has stayed afloat.
I think that the messaging of it has been a huge, huge boon for its success. Whereas Xbox is trying to be Xbox Series X, and everything's an Xbox, and your TV's an Xbox, and a PlayStation's an Xbox, right? I think that Sony, at this point, I almost think they're kind of pulling back because this is just working and growing so freaking much. Their monthly active users year on year has gone up 3 million.
And how do you think they're getting active million of users if PlayStation doesn't make multiplayer? Ding, 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 ding. Good answer, Carl. Third party. Don't you understand that once you go through the world of third party, that is what Microsoft got you? You're going to be paying for PlayStation Plus, and Xbox is going to be free online because it's going to be more of a PC hybrid. You guys don't see this, man. And this is where it's going to get dangerous for y'all. And this is what people are telling you. The more and more that these consoles stay the same, the more and more it's going to favoritize Xbox. This is what you guys don't get. The fact that Microsoft, it's so crazy, right? Because you guys said Microsoft lost their identity. Well, if that's the case, then you guys are also losing it as well, too. That's so crazy to think that Microsoft doing things the opposite is what works well for them than to be like you. Because they see the market, too.
80 million games shipped. Digital is up
Keyword, shipped, not sold.
72%. PS5 shipped 3.9 million units this quarter.
Shipped, not sold.
Up from 3.8
How come Sony's very disingenuous with the shipped and sold? Shipping something is different than selling something. Nobody's saying the PS5 is not selling well enough. I'm just saying it's very misleading when you throw terms out like shipped and expect. Do you understand what shipped is? That doesn't mean it's sold. I mean, at this point, I'm seeing. No wonder PS5s are overcrowded at these places because Sony is shipping more platforms than these retailers deserve.
Cumulative sales are now 84.2 million, slower than the PS4 by about 2.1 million.
Wow,
now, the PS4,
slower. You see what I was saying? You see, hope you Nintendo owners listen to what I said. Look, slower. You know how the PS5 completely outsold the PS4 when it first came out in comparison to its launch. Listen, Nintendo fanboy, you got to get humbled too. Everybody gets humbled in my videos. Look, now it's slower than the PS4 by 2.1 mil. So what I'm saying, and you guys had an argument with that, is that yes, the Switch 2 is doing well, it's selling well, it's being beyond Nintendo's expectations, but you guys are not understanding when that train is going to slow down. You guys are not taking consideration in that. Oh, it sold really well early on, and then as time goes on, it declines. And and that's what I brought up the whole games. You guys said the Switch 2 is one of the crazy sellers, but yet when the Switch 1 came out, people bought more games though, even when you had more hardware sales. See, these are arguments that these fanboys don't want to have. They just want to run off with these fake wannabe victories. Oh, look at that, we winning. No, and I'm not here to do that because I personally don't care. Because as far as I'm concerned, y'all ain't winning nothing but game key cards and freaking paid for voice chat.
Was such a juggernaut of profitability that to me, I do kind of think that this is sort of a signal that I think that Sony internally started to say, is it worth the gamble to try and get even the slightest bit of new players? By the original plans, Sony said the idea behind the whole idea of putting stuff onto Steam was to essentially entice new people to buy a PlayStation.
And they're not.
If I give you Spider-Man 1 Remastered and it runs fantastic on Steam.
So the funny thing is, though, but when PlayStation does it to PC, they're not dead, right? I just want to make sure we got this clear. But when Xbox puts a game on PlayStation, you saying that you're getting every game, you're saying this and this and this and that. How come it doesn't apply to Xbox? If Microsoft's putting games on PlayStation, who's to say that these games are not helping, enticing you guys to play over the other platform? I personally don't think they care. I think they see it as more money, more revenue to their company, and why not?
What's the odds that person will buy a PlayStation 5 to play Spider-Man 2? Well, it turns out the odds are relatively low.
Yeah, because nobody wants a PlayStation. That's why.
About this a lot because a lot of my friends, I would say a good chunk of my friends, I'd say 75-80% now are very hardcore PC gamers. They're always there, and they're very, very Steam devout. They won't even play other things on like Epic Game Launcher. They're very, very Steam devout. They won't even play like Diablo 4 until it came to Steam. But my point
but if they played on consoles before, then Xbox and what Steam is doing might be more appealing to them. You see, nobody cares about your exclusives. Your exclusives is not what kept your friends away from Steam. And what the new Xbox having that, and the Steam machine having that, and it's at a set-top box, which is simplified, no different than an ease of access console, what makes you think that Xbox is not going to do well? Exactly.
is the fact that those people can never, ever be enticed to go over the fence, to go to PlayStation 5. They're straight to the point where they're like, oh, wait, I don't mind. I'd rather play it optimized on my ultra widescreen monitor, on my like $5,000 computer with perfect.
Now, I don't think most PC gamers would downgrade to a console, but for those gamers that left console gaming to do that and want a simplified form of a PC-centric console, more likely they're going to want the Xbox because that's what's going to give them what they want. They want the freedom of a PC, but like you said, and we all know this in agreement, that console gamers like the simplicity. And who's going to provide that for y'all? Ding, 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 ding. Good answer, Carl. Microsoft.
Crazy
and
high
as well
graphics.
Steam.
I'm not going to buy a $600 PlayStation 5, $750 PlayStation 5 Pro to get graphics, even if they are good. They're just like, it's fine. I'll wait for this. I'll wait a year. And I think Sony is starting to see that. I think Sony's sales data have realized the PC experiment, even if it is profitable, even if it is, minorly profitable, I think they're in a spot where they realize, okay, these people are not being converted into PlayStation gamers. They're just being converted into people
because for you to convert them into PlayStation gamers, they're going to have to value the exclusive games that you have. That's why you keep saying, well, they'll wait a year. They'll wait a few months. I mean, Sony got so desperate, they're throwing them games day and date now.
Play PlayStation.
I mean, they're so desperate that they're throwing Horizon, the MMORPG, on PC and not even on PlayStation.
This entire statement by Jez Corden is being met with, this is legit. I think that this comes down to more of Sony figuring out that they're afraid of falling down the same pitfall of watering down the brand that has happened to Xbox.
Well, that's exactly what's been going on. Like I said, Microsoft does, PlayStation follows.
At this point, Sony is very happy, I think, with their current profitability. I think they're fine staying in their lane.
Yeah, they're so fine that they made the new Horizon MMO for PC over your own platform. That hurt your feelings? I thought Sony was the market leader. I thought Sony cared about their gamers over the PC. And yet, they spit in your faces and put an MMORPG on PC before they even gonna bring it to Sony. At least with Xbox, at least they bring it to everybody. At least they do. They bring it to... You never hear them talk about there's certain games that work better on PC. I get that, right? But my point is that if it's a game that can run on the console, Microsoft brings it for the console as well as the PC. They try to do that. You're telling me that PlayStation's like literally spat in your face, right? With the spits rolling right across your eyelid, looking like how Shawn Michael, what was it? Bret Hart did Vince McMahon, right? With the screw job, because that's what this is, the PlayStation screw job. Montreal Sony screw job. That's what they did. Bret Hart just spit in y'all faces, looking at y'all, just sat there and took it. Out here putting your hand on your eye like you got eye poked by what's that dude's name? Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm clouding too much.
Still see some stuff coming to PlayStation 5. I gotta admit, I think it's cool when PlayStation 5 games go to PC. I bought a decent amount of them. I just think mods are awesome. I just think it's so cool that you can tweak and change your ads.
You don't sound like a real PlayStation fan to me. You sound like you're admitting defeat.
I have seen mods that are so freaking mind-blowing in games, basically backtracking on their own sort of idea. Tell me your thoughts.
I don't think they're going to do that, but if they do, it's only going to work against them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. At the end of the day, man, we got the PlayStation screw job going on. This is what's happening. They see the Steam machine, and now Sony's afraid to put any more games on it. That's how you know that the new Xbox is a danger zone for Sony. Because the more these platforms stay the same, that's when you're in Microsoft's realm, and that's what they're waiting for. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, take care. Peace out.